Hey David, this is Suzanne, and this is the video that we took from the week before you went and did Ironman Arizona. So a lot of these things that I'm going to mention, we already worked on during this pool session, but what I'd like to do is point out some of the things that you're doing really well, and then remind you of the things that we worked on that night, and just show you some areas of improvement so that you can continue to get faster and faster when you swim. What I'll do is go through three basic elements, and each one of these we can spend a lot of time on. But the first one is balance, the second one is streamlining, and then the third one is propulsion. And I like to look at them in that order because balance is referring to whether or not your body is parallel to the surface of the water here. If you look at your head, your shoulders, and your shorts here, you can see they're all right at the surface, and that's exactly where we want them. We want them to be in a parallel line to the surface. So that's what I am referring to when I talk about front to back or linear balance. It means that your hips are high and that you're not creating a lot of drag underneath the water. So that looks really good, and that's a big improvement over what I've seen you do in the past. If we look at your body position underwater, same thing. We see the back of your head. Sorry, that's a bad line. Your head, your shoulders, and your hips are all pretty much parallel here to the water. With less skilled swimmers, what we'll see is that the body line is like that, or even in some people may really be sinking with the hips down low. So you definitely have that as a major improvement since last year. So good job on that. Then we can also talk about balance from left to right. So if we go to a shot of you swimming away from me, I think right here, and just look at the right to left balance of your body. Right here, your head, spine, and your shorts are all aligned in a vertical position going straight down the lane. That's exactly what we want. And we want to see your body rotating evenly from side to side around that axis. So we'll just take a look at a few strokes here. Okay, and we could get real picky and look at the exact angle and how much symmetry there is. But for the most part, you've got nice horizontal rotation, so you're fairly well balanced right to left as well. So you have the balance thing going on pretty well. Next thing I want to look at is streamlining. Now streamlining we can look at from underneath the surface of the water as well as above the water. Okay, so what I like to do is freeze the video with each arm at its lead point of extension. So for your left arm here, be about here in these frames. So streamlining, if we look at the shape that your body makes as it enters the water, this hand here is the leading edge, and your body is sort of creating this shape in the water like this. Okay, nice and smooth, head's here. Alright, so that's the outline that your body's making, and this is what's going to be cutting through the water. So we want to make this shape as streamlined as possible. It looks pretty good here. It looks a little bit like a manatee maybe. Little tiny thing that we could do to improve is that I can see that your head, you're looking over to the other lane. It looks like you're looking at this spot on the ground next to you. We want to work on keeping the head aligned straight with the eyes looking down, or at least oriented below you in that line that's between your body and the end of the lane in front of you. In other words, you don't necessarily have to be looking straight down, but I don't want you to be looking to the right or to the left. What you'll see is that it causes the head to rock back and forth a little bit with your stroke. Okay, and that rocking back and forth creates a little bit of extra drag. Okay. Other clues that we can look for streamlining are how many bubbles are being created. So just look underneath the water and watch for bubbles. Anytime there's bubbles in the water, it's an indication that there's some sort of drag from the surface of the water that's getting pulled under. Okay. So you don't have a lot of bubbles. You have more from your feet than from your hands. We haven't really talked about your kick much yet, but for the most part it's a pretty smooth entry. You can see a little trail of bubbles here that's kind of left over from your previous left arm entry, and a little stream of bubbles here from your right arm entry. So what we'll do is look at how each of these arms enters the water, because anything that creates a splash or entrains bubbles takes energy, and that energy comes from your body. So we want to use all your energy to moving forward. Okay, so front half of the body from the knees up look great, not a lot of bubbles. The kick, there is quite a bit of bubbliness back here, and over time we're going to work on cleaning that up. You'll actually move faster, I think, with a little bit less kick, because this is using up some energy that you could be delivering to move forwards. All right, so that's streamlining under the water. I want to look at some above water streamlining issues. Actually, let's take a look at this right here. This is a really good point. And again, if you're listening to this, don't be frustrated because we've already worked on this and already have discussed this. But what I want to point out is that when we're thinking about ways to first reduce drag while you're swimming, drag reduction is essentially free speed. It takes a little bit of thought and it takes practice and patience to repattern movements so that you minimize drag. But once you can do that, you're not really putting a lot of physical effort into reducing the drag. You're going to move faster through the water for the same energy that you're spending. So this is a really great streamlined body position here. Okay, nice and parallel to the surface of the water, nothing big and sharp, no knees or elbows are sticking out, getting in the way, creating drag there. So this is a really nice position here that you're starting with. Again, this is your left arm. Your left arm is behaving a little bit better than your right arm. So here comes your right arm in. All right, don't worry about the left side stroke right now. I'm just looking at the right arm entry. We'll get to the stroke part in a bit. Right arm entry comes in and your fingertips are coming in. You're pointing straight down. Okay, so from above the surface, we looked at this before, cutting in a little bit early. So if you think about drag reduction, your body's trying to move forward. Okay, this is the direction of movement here. Like my arrows. But the hand's coming in straight down and you're kind of putting on the brakes a little bit there as soon as the hand enters. All right, the direction of water flow compared to your body is that way, going towards your feet. So you're kind of sticking on the brakes when the hand comes in deep. So let's see what happens as we advance forward. So spearing in deep, 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 deep. Okay, so you came in straight and you're creating a big surface area here. So again, if you think about the direction of the water flow relative to your body, okay, the water's coming in this way and you're putting a parachute on here. Now with some swimmers, if they have poor balance, okay, I'm going to draw a different line that does not represent you. If their balance is very poor, okay, if their hips are down here and their head is up here, right, they're going to create an awful lot of drag as the water comes in here. Okay, you clearly don't have that problem. You've got really nice horizontal balance. So this is not a case of you needing to spear deeply in order to correct balance. For these people that do have really, really deep hips, it is frequently because, let me erase these. Hips are low. When they enter the arm is coming straight out and sort of pawing on top of the water. And so for those people, we will correct it by simply reorienting things. Okay, so if you imagine that the torso's here and this represents your steep arm, okay, all I've done is taken that other swimmer with the hips that were down here and the arm that was reaching out, and we've just sort of rotated the whole body. By getting someone to spear deeply, it can sometimes take those hips that were low and pop them up to the surface to gain balance. Okay, you don't have this problem at all. If you were to enter and spear forward at a more shallow angle as opposed to this real deep angle, I'm pretty sure that you would still be able to keep your hips at the surface because you've got a really good feel for what that's supposed to be like. Okay, so first thing that I'd suggest is thinking about bringing your wrist and your fingertips from here. Think about bringing them forward a little bit more. Okay, don't so much think about bringing up, but if you think about entering your wrist and spearing it forward more, it's going to bring your wrist higher in the water, right? It's going to reduce that angle of the arm. Okay, let's keep going here and see what happens to the arm. Okay. And then what we see here is that you're starting to reach straight forward and you're almost scooping upwards a little bit with that right arm in particular. And again, we've already gone over this. We've already talked about it, so don't feel like I'm picking on you. But this is probably one of the biggest points of improvement that you've made in the recent past. So the arm is sort of creating this scooping up shape. Okay, the fingertips do have a sense that they're going to need to gain traction, and you are tipping them downward. And as you begin your stroke, you've got a really good hand position. Okay, palms facing that way. All right, so you're beginning to push water behind you with both the palm and the forearm surface. All right, so that's all good. Okay, sorry for my sniffles, I have a cold. Really nice angle here. You're getting a lot of traction here. This is the most powerful part of your stroke right here, is when the forearm becomes parallel to the surface of the water. You're in mid-stroke and you're nearing your hips, okay? Back here, the palm starts to angle up a little bit. Okay, what I would suggest is tuning in a little bit more to what the hand itself is doing, and keeping the palm facing the back. So instead of this angle here that you are currently displaying, you adopt more of this angle. So even as the arm comes back and the forearm is straightening out, the fingertips keep pointing down towards the bottom of the pool, so that you're pushing water behind you. All right, let's go back a little bit, because this is a real important point. And I know we worked on this, and I just want you to be able to feel it. Okay, when this arm comes into the water, stop going backwards. Okay, let's see if we can trace where the hand goes. Just drawing a little line to match the location and orientation of the palm. All right, so you can see it's sort of tracing this reverse arc shape. Okay, all I've done is trace where your palm is in the water, and you're creating this reverse arc shape like that. It's resulting in your elbow being pretty low here. Okay, so the elbow right there is kind of pointed down to the lower corner of the pool. Okay, elbow's pointed down there. What we worked on that night was opening up the angle of the armpit here, opening it up higher above the water before you enter, and keeping that elbow a little bit higher. Let's look at the left arm, because that one is behaving a little better, like I said. So left hand comes in, looking over here now. Okay, as the left hand comes in, you can see the forearm is tracing kind of a straighter, a more direct path to where it's headed. Okay, forearm's coming out. All right, fingertips are tipped down, and you're starting your catch here. Fingertips are tipped down. So compared to your other arm, this arm is reaching fairly straight forward. Okay, and you still have really good body alignment. All right, so there's no need for you to reach down deep when you spear into the water, because your balance is good. With your left arm here, as you start to stroke, okay, your palm and your fingertips have a good sense of what's on the water, right? You can see you're catching some surface there, starting to get your forearm into it here. Okay, and again, this is really nice here. You've got a lot of surface area here, and this is the most powerful part of your stroke right here. Okay, now here's where it gets interesting. Your left arm is currently engaged in the most powerful part of your stroke. All of your energy is sending your body, right? It's pushing the water that way, and it's sending your body forwards. Okay, so if you just get the right arm out of the picture for a second and look at the left arm, this is ideal. The left arm is oriented vertically. All of your energy is pushing water straight behind you. This moment here, you've got the most contraction force of your lats. So this is the most power that you're going to be able to have in your stroke overall. Now, if you think about being a race car and you put a powerful engine on it, you're going to want to streamline all the other components of the car before you really rev up that engine. Or say you've got a glider and you want to put an engine on the glider, you're going to make sure that before you add that engine that your glider is traveling really smoothly through the water. Okay, so left arm looks really good. You've got great balance. Everything is set up for a really powerful part of the stroke, except what do you notice about the right arm? It's coming in with that really deep angle. There is a lot of this little turbulence here with these bubbles because of the steep angle that it came in. Okay, let's go back and watch that arm come in. Okay, again, it cuts in kind of abruptly. All right, so just as you're starting to apply power here with your left hand, you're simultaneously putting the brakes on here. Okay, left hand is creating power to move that direction, okay, while the right hand is putting the brakes on, right, and it's creating a force in that direction. So you're opposing yourself here, and I think that this is really the biggest, lowest hanging fruit to pick right now. All right, that left hand plunges in. The right hand plunges in. So even though the left hand is creating really good force, it's moving in the right direction here. Oh, sorry about that line. The right hand is causing you a liability. Okay, let's compare now the timing of the right hand stroke and the left hand entry. Okay, right hand is stroking. You're getting your force here, starting to set up a good surface there. The left hand's starting to come in. Now, when you get to that most powerful part of your right hand stroke, all right, it's not quite fair because this is a breathing stroke, but you can see that you're engaging your lat muscles here, you're engaging your triceps, you've got a vertical surface here, the palm is sensing the direction of the water. Everything here is set up to push water that way, right? If you're pushing the water that way, you're going to send your body's energy this way, okay? At the same moment in the stroke on the opposite side, do you remember where your right arm was? Your right arm had created this deep thing with lots of bubble turbulence. You'd put on this big air brake, water brake. Okay, now on the left side, the left hand is slipping in. You're moving into a streamlined position with that left hand. All right, so you're finishing up the stroke here. Again, we can focus on keeping the palm facing back even as you're straightening out the elbow there. But your left arm is getting to a streamlined position. Okay, you can see you've got a lot of forward movement here. Your body is just continuing to move forward as you finish that stroke. All right, make a good catch. Your left arm's getting ready to apply pressure, but here the brakes come in again. Okay, so that right hand is really the biggest culprit and the biggest thing we can improve. Okay, do not despair because we've already worked on improving this, and I've got a second video that I can show you where you made big improvements. So that's probably the biggest lesson we learned from this day, at least the biggest thing that I noticed. And again, just to reinforce, you've got really good balance, okay? Both looking above and below the water. Your hips are high. You've got that covered. You're rotating nicely through the water. You've got really good body control. And the left-hand side is entering the water smoothly and creating a beautiful catch. The right-hand side is the one that's causing some mischief for you. So we want to work on opening up that right lat, allowing this elbow to come forward a little bit more to open up the lat, sort of pre-stretch it before you enter the water, rather than taking this big chop down. You can see the wrist here, and you can spear down with some energy there. We want to let that arm flow forward much more naturally, just like the left arm is doing. The left arm is just flowing forward and slipping in. All right, I think I have covered that quite extensively. All right, so it looks good. It looks really good, just some small refinements, and I think you should be really proud of how far your swimming's come so far this year. Okay, that's it for